Welcome to our lovely future humans. We have a late IHP show. We're just going to chit chat about the self agents of those who inspire not only human potential but our 5D mystics and spiritual and secular mindful living loving people when it comes to compassion. You hear a lot of different stories out there, but what you don't necessarily notice are the ones who are living out the self agency with everyday life. Okay, so I have plenty of funny stories. You all know about it. The healthy self worth person will handle any of that which is an emotionally immature person with the love and unconditional love, acceptance, and that's because you're not really putting up with anyone. You're choosing the relationships that you're building and you're growing. The part about when I still hear savior complex or spiritual bypassers, and the ones who are the brothers and sisters who are living the ghosts of their past, so they have a curse, which is that they didn't take their embodied brain to get into a body that is in connection. They're not a self-agent. They're not even empowered yet, and yet they will have personal development and personality development podcasts, self-empowerment talks, and they won't have mannerisms of an empowered person. They don't even know what it means to be empowered yet because they don't have resiliency with happiness. They don't have resiliency with understanding how kindness works and how people who doubt any type of kindness in a way of is a person who obviously had a bunch of things take place and or their childhood. So when you're not able to sit in the land of neutrality and duality with that which is kindness and unkindness of your brothers and sisters, of all humans, and you want to use a statement, that's going to be clear to me that you're not yet a self-agent. You're in fact not a human from the future, which is why I've been, and we will be future humans. We're already here. Again, it's very easy. I'm attachment trauma educated, so I know all about compassion and then being able to be in the presence of anyone and to be able to do the one thing that they didn't get when they were growing up, which is why there's a story, the lovely Sadhguru story of the Zen master and the thief. Remember, I've shared that one with you. So there's this thief, and he's a compulsive thief, and he consistently is thieving. And his disciples, the Zen master's disciples, want the Zen master to kick him out. But the Zen master says, forgive him. And they say, no, we already did because of you, but we are not forgiving him again. We want you to kick him out. And he says, no, forgive him. And so Sadhguru gives you an explanation of how compassion, because the thief then breaks down and is crying and he doesn't do it again. This is kind of like the truly repent for your sins. And when you understand that shame, defectiveness is here from the smart therapist, and then how it gets dissolved, because we are all embodied brains. But you also understand where shame comes from our ancestors, which is we would get kicked out of the herd, you'd get eaten by the bear. So there's not needing Lucifer, demons, or any of that, which is a divisive story, which is of those who have had an unfortunate beginning in their life. Because the only ones who consistently have faith in humanity broken and are easily able to dehumanize every person out there are the people who had the first years of their life and somehow a lot more stuff maybe. Okay, so when they're saying to the Dalai Lama, dude walks up to him, how dare you smile in the face of all this suffering? And the Dalai Lama is like, it's not in spite or something like that of the suffering. It's because some of us have a responsibility to bring the smiles or to bring happiness. And for a while I was saying to our community, the future humans here at IHP, I was saying to us, we don't have the responsibility, but we have the ability. Because we don't have the capacity, I can't make you navigate your ventral vagal state. I can have you feel it, but when you reject it and then you don't learn to harness your own nervous system and then you don't learn how to bring yourself, there's an answer to why. And that's because the suffering that is in the body of every person comes with their story. And if they don't choose daily life practices, and that involves with self-agency, and that involves with anger, sadness, and fear, and therefore mastering it. But that's the part, it's easy for those of us who are self-agents. So it's already a relaxing day, even if I'm upset. The ones who drag pain points around. on YouTube and everywhere and elsewhere, besides the stories that they want to give you about mysticism. So the stories of the lower frequency. Okay, and yeah, that's a sad story, by the way. And it's nice to bring you the human elements to the spiritual and spirituality elements. The reason I never got broken, one, I'm a self-agent since I was a kid with my mother. You can't spank me. It's on my body. My superpower, my twin. I got an implicit memory butthole of I'm never going to be alone with the bear. So there. Ha, 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 ha. And even when she disowned me, she gave me the invincibility cloak of, ha ha, I cannot be ever disowned. You can't make me invisible. So there's answers to why we will have our personality patterns and temperament and our attachment. Thank you, Robert Sapolsky, with determined. So science doesn't disprove what I got taught from Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, my catechists. All my brothers and sisters were made. And their history matters. Like Patrick Chan points out, none of them were meant to become unkind. None of them were supposed to be afraid to love. And they were not supposed to feel that they were defective. And then they were also not supposed to break a lot of other people's hearts and whatever else happens. So the stories of the mystics who want to keep talking about our brothers and sisters and the spiritual ones as evil Knievel medievals with energy vampires, dark auras, and lucifers have no place in the future because science proves. Thank you, Patrick McNamara, for all of your work, and your hard work going to continue. Science is not going to disprove faith. It's only the ones who are fear-mongering each other, and we have people who don't take their kids to hospitals. So when you have those who are confused, they will say things like this: I just want a world where it's not about what feels right, but what is right. And this human being dismantles human beings who are leaders because they connect to others from the heart. And they do have followers, all of them do, because, again, the communities, they come together because they share commonalities like we do. We share the self-agency, future human commonality, and inspiring human potential. So people who are going to be back here, it's because they resonate. And that's always been the case. It's not what you do, it's why you do. And really, it's because we all have an amygdala. My 14-month-old, she has an amygdala too. I don't do mediocrity. And I don't do evil Knievel medieval because I do my brothers and sisters. They all have a story, and I'm different, and they're different. And it's okay to be mad, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be afraid. And it's okay to be happy and surprised and disgusted. And I just want to hug you. And there you go. And so a human being may have the strength to face any kind of punishment given to him, but he will be defeated by immense compassion. Punishments can make a person rock solid, but compassion beyond reason will shatter him. As you become increasingly, this is Sadhguru, hard on a person, he becomes more and more capable of handling the punishments you mete out. It is only compassion that will melt him. A spiritual master or a guru does not judge somebody based on what he is right now. Likewise, a guru will look at what kind of inner potential each disciple carries and see how to bring it to fruition. Someone who plants a coconut sapling will not cut it off after the 4th week just because it did not bear nuts. And the guru will not neglect anyone just because he does not have the necessary capability right now. I inverted a little bit of the paragraphs. If you go find it on Sadhguru's website. And then he also talks about the disciples and says whoever calls themselves a disciples should be willing to make them the opportunity, take the opportunity. If a Zen master is telling you to forgive, there's transformation and growth. So like with us and our bodies in connection, we are here because the future humans are able to say, yes, we want to be in our restorative embodiment because we can, and science has proven it, and it's not hard. It's a choice. It's hard for the ones who don't have the first 3 years of their life with love. So shame will not be in the future because the only reason we do have shame, the posture, is because of our ancestors, and the future doesn't look the same as the caves from yesterday's news. But some people might not join us. That's where 3D, 4D will not be joining the land of the alive people with the bodies and connection. And so again, The reptilian nervous system, we will still have it. It's not like it goes away. But the difference for the luminous warriors is we navigate from our prefrontal and we are relaxed when we are using our gut, because our body is in a connection, because our heart is open. And so thanks to Jesus, for example, I know all about forgiveness. And there's this one moment I'll never forget. It's hilarious. I won't share it. It's one of those private stories that only Maria will have. And maybe if we get together at our workshops and retreats in person, if someone's like, hey, so I was listening to a number of your things. I want to know that story, Maria. And I'll be like, am I sure I want to share with you? Because, everyone holds secrets. I mean, come on, there's that CIA agent. He makes sure to tell you we're all selfish because we're going to put the mask on first. That's what they tell us to do. You must not know how to follow instructions, CIA agent who is holding on to secrets all over the place. Okay, so every word you utter, every action you take, your very existence, is it for everyone's well-being or is it just about you? And here's where Sadhguru says, just fix this one thing to determine the nature of your life. He's talking about adaptive child part people without knowing it. And so here's where it doesn't matter, though. I can say Maria's a functional inner child adult. She's a self-agent. I'm using all the nice technical words. I know Jesus, God, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the words are not what matter, not because they're not what matter. It's one, those who operate out of the straitjacket of logic, they remain a clown in the circus of life because they're only left motors, like the guy who says, I don't want what feels right. Or anybody who thinks that we don't feel. You harness your emotional brain because you are a self that is owned by you. 3-year-old who doesn't get loved. And there's, for example, Bessel van der Kolk, who shares an image. He says, imagine you're drawing your kid, because kids will want, oh, look, mommy, look what I did. Look, I'm so excited. I want to tell you everything. That's what kids want. It's all about them. And that is the part. You don't punish or shame. You treat a child as a child. And the ones who want to yell at them because they get angry in a supermarket, because they're sad and crying, and they don't want to acknowledge them with the compassion. They want to, they have been treated that way, which is why they lack patience. They lack to know how to handle themselves. I mean, really? Wow. What are you doing? To me, I'm just thinking, is that what you thought? You thought that being a parent meant you can yell? So your capacity for again, a person who's not a parent, but I have a mother, and I get to, again, bring in how I was raised, and it's those first 8 years of life, being able to mommy. So when you're allowed to be angry and sad and afraid, and you're then allowed to know there's nothing to be ashamed, because as you grow up, like when I'm 11, 12, I told you the story for my hypnotherapy session. There's not one person that I'm going to say is evil, because anyone who's a coward, meaning a lack of self-aware, accountable, regulating person, can become a person if they go to therapy and get out of their left mode, which is boring, by the way, when it's only one side of the brain. So the Bessel van der Kolk, he is sharing with us a 3-year-old who's drew something, and they're going to go to the mom to try and show what they drew. But the mom is in a dysregulated nervous system they're not there. And this is the part of where I know that there's so many people, not only do they lack the education, they lack taking seriously every bit of it. And it is beyond a Jesus of me, mediocre. And when you got spiritual bypassers who want to tell me about Lucifer, devils and demons, I don't have anything to say there, because again, I'm grounded in reality with science, and then I know who God is, and it's like, okay, it's okay, reincarnation, they're gonna get to come back. I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age. I got lucky, man. I'm at the beginning of the Akashic book. I'm an Akashic record reader. I don't have anything to say. Hey, God. So no, he knows everything anyways. That's the point. See, there's still a child right here, but I can bring to you dark matter, dark energy, meaning science, and I can bring to you God and my upbringing, and then I can tell you why Maria is completely enamored with humanity and why I'm not afraid of them, because the 1 to 22, the Michael Stone the evil scale, they're all morons, except for the 7 to 14 charming. They're actually the ones who are not charming to me. it's dangerous to have no emotions. It's not true that it's inherently enlightening or healthy to be non-reactive. Wow, you played with words fabulously. The other dude, crying all of a sudden? Look, here's the book that shows it's propaganda. The facts. People, they don't like the facts. That's so indicative. They're all buffoons. I'm like, wow, bring it on. Come on, let me spot one. Let me try to spot Waldo. I need a challenger for me. Meaning, no, I don't want those types of challenges. No. I don't want that. No. I'm calling the curious, fun community. The future humans, self-agents. No, we don't want any of those people. My gosh, no. I already get to meet them in the streets. And so, the 3-year-old who's wanting to share who they are, Bezel van der Kolk is explaining how the areas for delight and having pleasure with who they are, they doesn't light up. That's why the brain is underdeveloped. That's why the lady who is on therapy, nutshell therapy, whatever, her episode on how to help to support handling emotionally immature people. And someone's like, that sounds so tiresome. And it's like, okay, that means you need to learn how to use your nervous system. I mean, you don't have to. You can, though. Your contribution to the world, though, is you. And so how you live, how joyful you are, everything has an impact. But again, we can't make you go and get your self-agent butthole into a therapist so that you can continue to say, yay, I get to do thoughts and emotions. And of course, I'm going to meet different people. That's actually the norm, but I don't need to call them names. Okay, so what you learn about this, punishment can make a person rock solid, but compassion beyond a reason will shatter them. When you're a somatic empath, which is what we all are, but obviously when you're a self-aware, accountable, regulating person, okay, so I will accept, respect, and love you just the way you are, as our lovely Sadhguru points out. That is the greatest gift you can give, but also, for most people, love means you must do what I want, and it's no. Love means that they can do what they want and I will still love them. And then when you know the most precious thing is life itself, okay? So I'm going to try and share with you the part about why I love my story, Maria's story. So one, with attachment and trauma education, I got to understand why, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for sickness and in health, till death do you part. It's not about monoamory, people, or polyamory, number one. If you're not a securely attached, healthy, self-worth human being, you won't know love the way that an actual whole sense of self person knows it. Because like Terry would point out, you're going to be a codependent type. And I love how he puts it with the women and the men. He talks about both equally. I'm going to leave that one out. But the part with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and then moving into mysticism, and then being able to know that there's not a reptilian species out there, it's the reptilian nervous system. Those people. I mean, I know I'm all pseudoscience, but oh my gosh, the stories they've made up. So love and fear frequency is what I'm going to bring to you. The ones who are living their bodies in protection, they're all fear. They're all fearful brothers and sisters. They don't know the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. The ghost of their past is their upbringing. They keep their curses because they keep their trauma charges. And then they go and hang around the same people that have the same karma. So they hang around each other. And then they talk about our ancient ones wanting to punish us versus knowing about geologists and scientists and anthropologists and all of the ones who can explain what's happening to our planet and the stars and, blah, blah, blah. So they continue using what is like the mythological Greeks to me. Okay, so I'm year 2025. I believe in God. I know exactly who God is. Discerning, equanimous love. I know what consciousness intelligence is. From a spiritual perspective, I have my own experience. It's not dumb, that's for sure. You better bet it ain't fear-mongering. The only people who believe that kind of bullshit tale are the same ones who got fear-mongered themselves, which means they don't know what a gatherer or a hunter is. They don't know how gatherers and hunters work together. And then they also don't know the beauty of the way because they haven't. I heard a guy who interviewed hunters and gatherers. They're not impacted by society. They don't shame their boys with a low frequency. Only the boys are the threat to the society and the way that they're balanced. Why the boys? Because they have some hormonal stuff go on. So the men, all the men, they will together, the boys who represent a potential threat to the balance and the harmony of the ecosystem that they've created, they will shame their catch. They will not do it with the intent to humiliate. This is the part that people don't understand. Words mean nothing. What I'm talking to you about and going to try to help you understand is what nervous system engagement are they in. I got a bunch of grown men who have an ecosystem that they care about, and they're sharing wisdom because in their prefrontal cortex with their entire herd they are. That's a very different format, and that will be what will potentially instruct those boys who get shamed. Potentially. Why? Because we still have our own personality pattern and temperament and attachment figures. So this is why God, intelligence, source, Akash, the spiritual, you have free will. Science will give you a mathematical equation, but as our lovely Ron Siegel points out, let me go grab him, because he gives a lovely quote the other day. I read this one to you. The quote is, "Our psychiatric diagnostic system does not carve nature at its joints. Rather, it is we as clinicians looking for some kind of patterns, but each individual is different, and these patterns overlay one another." And then, as Bessel van der Kolk points out, the only way we can change the way we feel is by becoming aware of our inner experience and harnessing and learning, to befriend what is going on inside ourselves. Bessel van der Kolk also shares something, and more than just something, but I'll read you this one. A therapist can, for the time being, play that role of being an external observer sometimes, but the real role of the therapist is to activate the internal self-observation part. And this is where, when you understand how a person who is used to being shamed and treated a certain way, this is why the story that I shared with Sadhguru, where you can punish them, you giving them the same exact behavior does not allow them to get a different one behavior. But also, when I'm going to stand with my ventral vagal state, I'm accepting, loving, and respecting you because I'm maintaining my safe haven, secure base composure. Because I'm not afraid of you. I have not gotten to stoop down, is what I'm going to use on purpose. I don't become mediocre, and I don't become emotionally immature because I don't calibrate to your low frequency. But above all, I don't calibrate it because as a kid I chose that I wouldn't do it. Maria. I won't be unkind to my brothers and sisters. I will choose to be kind. I will choose to have integrity. I will choose to not behave in any way, shape, or form that is going to disregard those basic 10 commandments that I got told. Then I grew to become polyamory. And yes, they talk about the whole one, whatever, but it's a bullshit statement if you ask a person who knows what love is, because again, it's about a securely attached 1-year-old and 3-year-old and a person who has compersion. Means that I will want you to be happy no matter how and what you will have done. I will not be coming after you with any kind of vengeance or say I forgave or any of this helplessness state, which is beyond a bejesus. I'm a self-agent. I'm a mature one. And then when I think of the word helpless, come again? Did you think that you turning your face and back and not calling me or talking to me was going to what? What did you say? Secure attachment aren't emotionally invincible? Wow, you think emotional invincibility exists? Oh, I'm so happy. I'm making fun of a bunch of different things, okay, right now? I'm just letting y'all know what I need is air, water, and food. You think that I'm going to, throw my life away? This miracle, God, where are you? I am pro-choice, but gosh darn it. Do you think I'm going to kill myself? What? Come again. You must not know what a literal, again. So when you enjoy life, you've been taught, again, how to cherish it from the Christian Catholic upbringing with good catechism. I'm just letting y'all know. You think I'm going to be upset at a human being who decided that they don't want me? Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Excuse me. No, I need to tell you the data point. I have a sister. She's a twin. This is very important. Robert Spokesy, come on in, determined, because I got science. I'll use the science. I love you, God. Let me put God aside. So, Teenage boyfriend cheats on me the first time. I say, don't think I'm going to become jealous or do any of the stuff that all of our friends do. I'm not insecure. You did this thing. I didn't lose trust. Otherwise, I'd just break up with you. This is what I do. I don't actually hang around people I don't trust because I'm not an idiot. And when I found out that people hang out with people they don't trust, I'm like, so you don't trust your friends? That doesn't make any sense. No, because don't you know, Maria, people don't want your best interest. Okay, I don't know who you hang out with, but that's not how I build friends. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not sure what you're doing. You need to what? Watch your fucking back? You want a list of questions. I see. So you obviously seem to not be sure about how you pick them. I know how I pick them. My amygdala picks them, and it's alerted quite well. Also, I'm an empowered feminine, so I have no questions about my oversoul. So I do not know. Yes, thank you, Sadhguru. Is an immense possibility. Only when you realize I do not know, the longing, the seeking, and the possibility of knowing arise. However, and wait, if your idea of trust is that others must behave as you expect, that is not trust, that is cunning. So this is, humanly speaking, the left brain wanting to know things. My left and right work together. You put your left foot in and your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. Hokey pokey. So this is an integrated brain, and this is a person who's a luminous warrior, but I don't have to use these words. I'm a teenager and I tell the boyfriend what I tell him, and the whole death do part, sickness and health. If I had known of polyamory, by the third time I've been like, okay, look, I think we want an open relationship, which I did eventually. So the part about being taught as a child, the monogamous stuff, I'm like, okay, whatever. The part that I'm a grown up and seeing some people say, we're not meant to be monogamous. We're not meant to. Are you trying to tell people what to be? You know, you just presented them to two equations. So you have these opportunities. Oh, by the way, for polyamory, it's only if you're securely attached. Otherwise, you got people giving each other numbers. Then you got masochists. You got, polygamy, and like, oh, you're not poly enough. So whenever I hear any of that, I'm like, that's not amore. That's not amore. So amore means love, which means you do know how to be yourself, which also means you know how to actually spell out, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm afraid, I'm happy, I'm disgusted, I'm surprised, yay. And that's it. And that's as straightforward as it gets. And it doesn't become any kind of competition. But imagine this. Imagine someone trusting a kind person less. Then imagine that they are consistently testing the waters because they don't trust that you're going to stick around. Then imagine them thinking of you as competition and think of that as battlefields. And then imagine there's an explanation to all of this. Okay, so dehumanizing people versus understanding that if they didn't get those first 3 years, very important, those first 8 years, super important. And as Patrick Chan points out, your past lives through you, not behind you. So as long as you're disregarding getting the unkind behavior fixed and basically taking ownership of rebuilding, having faith in people, because you talk about how it got broken with Patrick Chan, okay, so you don't raise your vibration, live in abundance, or manifest your way through childhood trauma. And those who say, I'm a spirituality expert, and they tell you that the ones with trauma don't manifest, that's a bullshit lie. Reptilian, plenty of them manifest. Not the species. The ones who are living, their body in protection, and they don't know what love means, and they don't know who Jesus is. They may use the name, they may use the word, they won't know. They'll say, I forgave. You know, because I forgave you, the one thing I also told the teenage boyfriend, I said, don't you think that I'm going to be holding this. This is not how this works. And those who want to say that the punishing, the shaming, again, talking down to someone, lecturing them, all of these modalities, they're really just people who need terrestrial. And so what breaks my heart is that even if you give people the opportunity to be welcomed as they are, you accept, you love, respect, as we've been saying with the compassion, doesn't mean they're going to delight in themselves. Because as long as they disregard that they need help because they have maladaptive patterns, inner outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking. In college I met these people already. And then they also don't have a smart support system. Then they don't have the good therapist around them, because you need the good ones. If you don't have the good ones, they're going to tell you it's all bullshit, all the modern day therapist stuff. So, you know, the saddest part is that you don't have people who will make their way to become their true self. So at the end of the day, when you find the wisdom behind the unknown, expert yogis, Sadhguru taught me, they get taught darkness. And I was like, oh, well, we all know that one already. The future humans, at least, right here, self-agents, inspiring human potential community for sure. Because, yeah, I got secondary human consciousness. I mean nothing to you, except for whatever it is that your amygdala alerted you to. That's okay. What you don't know, I know we're all selfish. Oh, it's very straightforward, the equation. I put the mask on myself first. Don't you see how cynical I am? No, I'm not. It's just, if you come plug my nose, I'm going to fucking run away. I won't let you plug my nose. The point I'm trying to make is not the words again. It's the feeling and the common sense. The roof don't fall on my head. So when people would say at a certain point, I forget how old I was, I'll keep you safe. I'm like, safe? Excuse me? You're funny. I'm laughing right now. Safe from what? I'm good. No, I'm like, please. I'm very literal. I don't do jokes. Also, stop bullshitting me. So the point here again is that needing safety for the ones who have a relationship with God, ridiculous. If you ask a person who's expanding with God, okay? Meaning that I totally understand. Of course, I would love to know that I won't die until like I'm 1,000, 2,000 years old. Yes, I would love that very much. Other than that, the part about breakups is what I was telling you also about. Yeah, so I never understood the teenage drama and how many people just completely lost shits over breakups. And then how they continue to then harbor a certain type of resentment. Or if they think that your ex and you have to want to fuck each other. I mean, really, I'm like, wow. So I guess you didn't get over that relationship. Like, that seems very fascinating. Not. So with a bunch of different stories, one, yeah, when you are a self-agent, it's okay for breakups to happen. Teenager, young adult, you don't fuck anyone just because that's actually an indication that you don't know about STDs. You also apparently don't know how to work with your self. I mean, really, the only people I saw do it on a wheelhouse, they've created cards. Did you know they've created tarot cards so that people could actually be told this is not Lucifer, this is human beings who have the shame, blame, fault, revenge, and they are on a wheelhouse with their unhealthy self-soothing patterns, the maladaptive ones. So the ones who spot that which is maladaptive, thank goodness, they're basically people who have a level of self-awareness and self-respect. And so they're like, something's off. The ones who instead fall for that shit, they're the ones who will take a person who can present them, pretty sure you could do this differently. No, you don't understand. You're welcomed by everyone. So you don't understand what it is to be alone. No, you don't understand. You're wrong. I was bad. I needed that. So there's a bunch of people that throughout the years will have justified either them falling for bullshit, cult type shit, just saying, and that's because they're all alone, and as a mystic they are not welcome. And I'm like, by who? I get made fun of all the time. I don't mind it. Don't you know? We have groups out there. Then we got the ones who defend the people who treat them like shit. That one's not fun at all. And then we got Patrick Tan, who's letting them, yes, no, exactly. Thank you, Patrick. Where are you? The false self-identity, attempt to not emulate those abusive parents, yes. But also, as Ruth Lanus points out, traumatic memory is not a memory that's remembered, but a memory that is relived. So when you continue dating beneath yourself, it's because you don't know how to love yourself first. You need guidance from a person like Patrick Tan, and then through repairing yourself. And the most no, not that one, I read that one. Our triggers, thank you, Patrick Chan, often prevent us from seeing the other person's humanity. So when someone's crapping on humanity and they're saying Lucifer, energy vampires, dark auras, entities attached, come again. No, I don't tell them that. I'm telling you all that. Because again, the future humans are self-agents who are inspiring human potential now. The only ones who don't know we're here are the same ones who don't notice that their maladaptive patterns of behavior and their inner outer critic and dehumanizing human beings by continuing to use the story of Lucifer and demons and anything and everything. Really, you must not, again, have gotten educated. So the 3-year-old that doesn't get seen, what I'm going to say is that the saddest part is not seeing them become their actual 3-year-old. And that's the sad part. So you are not helpless if you're still breathing, drinking water, and eating. The self-agent. I am not helpless if you break up with me, leave me, whatever. I'm not helpless if you are engaging with me in any kind of inconsistent mannerisms and doing bullshit Cusco attitude. I am not helpless if you disengage from giving me answers about what the hell is going on. I will not be helpless, Maria, because I'm not helpless. I'm not under a rock. Help me, help me. And the fact that you will have behaved in a number of mannerisms that will have shown me exactly what you're made of. Well, again, by the time I'm 19, I met all the cowards I had to meet. I was like, okay, God, where's Lucifer? Nowhere, I don't see him. And I don't today. So it's a sad story, because when I think of those who are in the fear frequency, they're living the ghosts of their past. They're continuing to think that they are cursed. They don't close out their cycles because they continue to live shadow side and light side and all that. And then they want to say that they know our ancient ones. And they want to bring to you the ancient stories of the fear mongering, who don't know that we are in a different time. But again, they serve a purpose, because not everybody takes seriously noticing their nervous system and the body's security system, which is scanning self and others. So no body will be a self-agent if they don't own their default mode network. And so mine is downregulated. So as I'm engaging with a person, particularly that I love a lot of people, but this is my oversoul, so they're special. Yes, some of them are more special than others. We don't love them more than others. No, that's a trick question, and actually you don't. Love is a consistency. What you create is the bond. So when you are, for polyamory curious people, securely attached polyamory, you have polyfidelity vessels. You also have that which is called very good conversations, that which is called authenticity, transparency, and nobody's going to force anybody to do anything at all. There is no coercion, and there's no 1, 2, 3s. That's ridiculous, because only insecure, not secure people need themselves to be given any kind of, and that's dehumanizing. You don't objectify. So people who don't know how it's all, they're the same ones who don't feel that special are all our brothers and sisters. They're not, in fact, in the functional inner child, adult, future human self-agency. I'm trying to help you understand what the oxytocin gene hormone and compassion actually do. And so you don't feel offended when someone says, polyamory, you're whores. No, we're not. But hey, that was funny. You're masochist. Again, no, not all of us, not the healthy self-worth ones. And no, we don't actually just fuck about anyone. No, we're not all polygamists. No, not all of us say yuck and polywise and polysecure. Good books for you to read. Oh, and by the way, Death Do Part, Sickness and in Health, it's something that you choose with a human being by talking, not just by fictitiously in your brain thinking it up. Oh, also, again, it has nothing to do with vows from anything that wants to be a hypocrite. I'm just going to put it that way. Hypocrisy means you hurt children physically, emotionally, and mentally. Here is where the children will all be completely given the safe haven, secure base. And no, we don't do any healing. How dare you trauma dump? That's not what happens here. No, you don't tell them they need therapy. No. It's not your right to do any of that. No. You get to put into practice the inner growth mindful mindset practices that are daily. And we get to say yes to love and yes to those who are around us. I'm not decent enough to be saluted. It's not about decency. And we repeat ourselves. No, we won't become friends. Yes, we do frequent the same place. No, I won't be talking to you. Yes, I will be seeing you. No, I won't enter any kind of conversations with you. And no, I'm not blocking or doing any barriers. I'm just telling you how it is. And that is all. Okay, so that's how you handle, at least I handle anyone, because I'm a self-agent and a future human who's a compassionate one. I do not shame anyone. But what you find out about healthy self-worth people who are like I am, mystics or not, it's true. Some people won't see us. I thought that the invisibility cloak of Harry Potter is what I needed to be invisible. Nope. All I need is to be confident, and that is what I am. And this human being, it took me 3 times to find out that they actually couldn't see me. They couldn't hear me as I stared in their face and spoke to their face like that. Then eventually they began to turn around from the end of the bar, and I'm all the way on the other end, and they'd say, I know what they say about me. I'm not an alcoholic. And I'm like, I wasn't looking at you, but okay. Or it was something along the lines of, don't look at me, I know what they say about me. And so this happened 3 times. At the 3rd time, they were able to figure out that I was meaning it. I wasn't judging them. And then they gave me a nickname. And they even went ahead to be so amazingly amazing to want to talk to my family. And the nickname, they did it wrong and they called me Poopy. And it's an inside joke now because they meant to say something, and I don't even remember. In the Italian, it's because I'm pocket size. But Poopy, they so that's a fun person. But yeah, he could be better, but he's doing better, but he could be better. But again, you can't make anyone, as long as they follow the laws, they're functional alcoholics. They don't get into trouble. They don't drink and drive, and there's plenty of laws that they're having come out. And so that's that. But the part about, like Gabor Mate says, not why the addiction, why the pain, but they have to be the ones who want to go, or have family who say, we're going to make you go. And even when that happens, the ones who have shame, there's brilliant destructive mode shame people who figure out how to, yes, pseudo-intellectuals are pseudo-intellectuals because some know their shit. The ones who are pretending, those are very easy to spot. I'm saying there's a bunch of them. They have their schools, they isolate. Again, you'll be able to notice that they just bring to you all of their people. These are all our scientists. Oh, wow. There's another group, right? Do you have hangout time? Because that's very important. Otherwise, you need to hang out with everyone. I'm sorry, I don't believe in half science, half intellect. I'm pseudoscience because I'm spiritual. That's the only reason. So you don't replicate the data the quantitative way, but I take science very seriously and intellect too. So side note. But what I was trying to say is 4D, actually, I had read a bunch of different texts that talked about how we would not be seeing each other. And this has been going on for I don't even know how many years at this point. Every now and then there's a new split. There's a new timeline. But I know what is actively our timeline. Maria does. Okay, so what was the other story? The 3-year-old, and yes, okay, there you go. So let me get the last story out, and then we're going to be done. And so I get the honor to engage in a relationship and with a person in a different way than what they have been used to. But in the absence of the individuals, and that's in general, but not noticing and not taking themselves to get help and then not breaking free from their pattern, it doesn't really matter. So you're not helpless, but you are helpless in helping somebody to become delighted in who they are and dissolve shame. So I can offer all the compassion, and like my functional alcoholic friend, we laughed together as they pointed out that they helped their family, and I said, you do know there's cirrhosis of the liver, right? No, but I'm still helping. I'm not trying to, bust your balls. I'm just saying, you realize that you're not doing anybody any favors if you end up in the hospital. You want to keep telling us you're helping your family. I'm going to say you're just bullshitting yourself, but that's where it stops. I can't do anything else. And that's the part. We can only continue to become more future humans, self-agents, inspire human potential. When you meet those who don't know how to behave, you don't have to put up with anything, but that's why I liked the Nutshell Therapy Ladies episode. She gave 2. One was on handling emotionally immature people with a nice little formula. I automatically do it just because that's what the future humans are. We're in our ventral vagal state. So again, we're luminous warriors because we don't go offline. That's why Robert Spotsky, his book Determined, he says we've been determined because he thinks we don't know how to become self-agents. I beg to differ. But no, he also knows about the embodied brain. So the first 3 years we'll feel that the world is unsafe. And that's why Janina Fisher says you build a world that's unsafe. So you are not a person's medicine, but you are their opportunity to see their heart. And then you're their opportunity to choose their heart. And then you're their opportunity to become their self. But if they choose fear because it's too hard for them to trust that they're safe to stay, because their body is continuing to do the I need chaos, and they're hooked on their drama and they're hooked on their stress, like drama kings and drama queens who will go to the fancy lady in her suit, and man who will continue to dismantle, in their opinions, the modern day therapist. You got a person who is living the ghost of their past. It's an adaptive child part. They have charges. They live their charges and their pain points all together. So they got the same stories. In fact, we got a Wendy, and then we got a Peter Pan and Lost Boys. And you're gonna find them using the same words that I can use, using the same cards. And again, that's something I already knew, just not confusing to the smart ears. The ones who are smart, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, they want to be alive. They actually care to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. So whether they know it or not, they will say, I want to be a part of my human herd. I am a human. I know hunters and gatherers, they have a balance. I won't need to shame, humiliate any human being. I don't need to punish a human being. I don't need to use the words. I will walk a walk and talk a talk so that we can together create a fair and just society. So empowered feminines, empowered masculines always come together because they are in the frequency of love. No one is in the frequency of fear unless there's a bear outside or some shit going down and my body's in a protective mode for a minute, which can happen. We don't want those scenarios. Those are very scary scenarios. And when people don't understand the difference, I'm going to leave it alone. So, as I was saying, authentic selves, we come together. Future humans, welcome aboard. The ones of you who are self-agents, curious and inspiring human potential. Being able to give a person a different experience from what they are used to is good, but it's not what's going to have them make it over the hump. The choo-choo train becomes a hero because he gets to achieve what his goal is. A childhood trauma and or anyone who has even narcissism, Kylie's continuing her journey. She's borderline personality and she's in remission for that. So anybody who's working with any of that stuff, they are going to continue to share with healthy self-worth people how it's going, and then to spot when they're unkind behavior, because see, there's two types of, I don't use the word shaming in general because it's the posture, but some people talk about societal shame to teach right and wrong. So I'm going to try to help you understand that it's the body that matters and the intent behind it. If I'm maintaining my herd's harmony, so I'm shaming, I'm teaching you what is fair and right with integrity. My frequency stems from an open heart with a brain, not from a gut, which is Diego's family, which are instead people who will have, like this man and woman that I've seen, they're pseudo-intellectuals because both are just bringing you their dogma. There's actually 4 now. I got all 4, but these 2 are parents. And they're carrying their pain point. So they are unsatisfied from stuff that took place in their childhood and their young teenager years. And actually, anytime you're going to hear that which is not a disciple of any guru, because they're continuing to say, you need to kick out the thief. The compulsive thief is going to thief again. They're not wise ones. They are in their safety behavior because they are living based on the past, and they're continuing to say, I know what's going to happen in the future. So they don't know how to deal with the unknowns, uncertainties, and unexpecteds, but they also don't know how to deal with the present, and they don't know how to welcome that which is an opportunity of the human being. So they still have that broken faith with humanity. But see, this is why empowered feminines and empowered masculines work together. It's also why perfection doesn't exist, which is also why free will, for those of us of spirit and source and God knows, you can't know everything all the time. And if I want to bring in science, I can bring that in too. You got secondary human consciousness going on. I know that I live and die, and we got subject matter experts who continue to research. So if you want to bring it in, the unknown is a consistency, which is why those with the straitjacket of the logic, where's this Sadhguru quote that I read to you, it's a left brainer who doesn't accept that, yeah, of course we're afraid of the unknown. No shit. But it is that it exists. So you are able to, I did this when I was a kid with Marcus Aurelius, by the way, because I would wake up and be very sad that I won't know when I die. And Marcus Aurelius said, why worry about something you can't do anything about? And I was like, you know what? He's right. I'm using a lot of energy and time on something I cannot physically do anything about. I'm going to move beyond that. And so again, the most dangerous person in your life, thank you, Dan Martell, the one who makes you comfortable with mediocrity. Anybody who keeps on telling you that demons, Lucifers, evils, energies, and doesn't know of Patrick McNamara, maybe it's just they're ignorant. But the minute that you know of Patrick McNamara and you say, ha ha ha, neuroscience, everyone has something to believe in. No. Okay, if you operate out of the straitjacket of logic, you remain a clown in the circus of life. So when I have the capacity to know that the most precious thing is life itself, I know it now, not on my deathbed, and that the greatest gift you can give to somebody is to accept, respect, and love them the way they are, awesome. That love is freedom and joy, attachment is bondage and misery, yes, again. And that for most people, love means you must do what I want. No, love means they can do what they want and we still love them. But also the part about not only your contribution to the world, everyone offers something, but the brain is running a model of its body. And the trust is very important. And Sadhguru shares, if trust is where you expect somebody to do what you want them to do, that's not trust, that's you being cunning. Okay, so right here, if your idea of trust is what others must, is that others must behave as you expect that is not trust, that is cunning. So we have balance because there's always the need for being and doing. This is where it makes sense to me that we are consistently expanding with consistent use of all that is the capacity of a person. It's not black and white. It's not ever perfect. And the only people who think that destruction is taking place are the ones who are judging in a way of having a preference. Of course, we have preferences. Like I said, I would prefer for water, air, and food to be immediately attended to. And yet we have buffoons out there who seem to not think of it as necessary. You ask an intelligent person, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I wake up? Wow, flat earthers are looking into the earth is flat. So that's with science, with the data. But as a person of faith, with Akash source intelligence, we're expanding. And with, the timeline, I forgot to mention the timeline. I know where we're at, and I had been told already that 3D 4D wouldn't move out of that. And I didn't believe that would happen because I do believe in humanity's capacity to use their brain. But then again, they say that the polyamory community overestimate the capacity for a person to use their brain. I find that insulting. And I would say that anybody who allows themselves to be insulted is a lack of intelligent brain who does not understand how to use two sides of it at that point. And there are a bunch of them. So me being able to share love, compassion doesn't mean anything, and it won't make me feel helpless in the way of I'm dying now. It will make me feel helpless because I'm sad, because I can't actually say, you're beautiful just the way you are. Words can't bring whatever that song is, and that someone will never feel that. And that's only because of this lifetime. I don't even have to go to the other lifetimes. They didn't get the mother who would look at their painting, or they didn't get a bunch of people. They didn't have a human herd that was Pacha. They had what Cusco got, Yzma and Kronk, and then they got potentially, I don't even know. You see what I'm saying? So this is the part. It's understandable that a Cusco first needed to see a Pacha and what Pacha and a family like Pacha. So thank goodness the future humans are here, self-agents. We all are inspiring human potential. Welcome aboard. But yeah, would be nice to see more of Kylie's. And Kylie is a healing narcissist. And then you get to see someone saying, here's the most recent study on narcissism. As you can see, I watched it on purpose because I like to watch how they wield their mouths, these people. Here is the study, and here is what they don't change. See, they stay the same. I mean, but my colleagues, they're all against me. It's as if Maria said, all the 4D mystics, they think I'm not real, and they think that I'm bullshit. And you know what I also know they think? Because they believe that Lucifer and energy vampires and dark auras and low frequencies are still real, and that sorcerers are like Yeah, I know exactly what they're thinking about me. In the meantime, for scientists, it's easy. I'm a pseudoscience lady. Oh, and then for people who don't believe emotions are actually a real thing, it's propaganda when you start crying and you break down into tears. Although I have seen some people do something that I'm like, okay, really? Come on, keep it together. Like, like, wow, when they've been upset for the community, content creators. I mean, I'm just wondering because as a mentor, which is a consultant, a coach, a content creator, and a podcast host, I would never be like, I do so much hard work and I just one comment or so whenever I've seen it happen, I'm like, wow, they got triggered by their community who made a comment on their, don't they know they can turn off comments? Number one. Number two, did you think you're going to be perfect? Look, I do a bunch of shit. And people say, you don't want feedback. Yeah, I didn't ask you how to create my content. I do. I enjoy feedback. You know, the best feedback I ever got? That I'm a woo-woo. No, what was it? Self-help bullshit, pseudoscience crap. And I said, self-help, yes, not bullshit. Pseudoscience, yes, not crap. And that was the best ever because I got a whole episode out of that. That's our naysayer. We can thank our IHP naysayer. I mean, I really would love to find him and say, look, you gave me great feedback because it's true. I totally forgot that I am a pseudoscience, and it's very important for me as a marketer to be authentic and transparent. Also because I am building a community of self-agents. They need to hear the real deal because also we want sciences with us. And so let's have a good time all together. As I meet plenty of people who don't believe in God and spirit and source and Akash. We honor it though. They honor us too. Oh, and that is right. If you tune into the TikTok live, I don't know if you can get the replay. You'll have to let me know if you can't because I downloaded it. But I tell you a story. This was from yesterday, but I'll save some more for tomorrow. That way I can let you all go. But thanks for stopping by for the late IHP show. Again, my hope is that every one of the 3-year-olds who wants to be in their lifetime will be that they'll be able to dissolve shame thanks to the future humans who are already here and that welcome them. And then they do obviously the emotional mature stuff because you can't do it if you don't get ownership of your embodied brain. And the ones who still want to live the ghosts of their past, I mean, again, it's quite clear what adaptive child part people are. They're self-preserving. They don't learn new skills. They like the pseudo-intellectuals because they bring them their truths. And then in fact they say it's the woman's bosom that is needed. And it's like, no, it's the ventral vagal state bosom that is needed. And that's for someone who knows how to handle themselves always, not just sometimes, and repairs ruptures. Always doesn't mean you don't have, moments where it means that you recognize my 0-8-year-old needs me to be an emotionally mature person because they need that. So whenever they get angry, afraid, or, sad, they can express themselves, whatever the circumstance. I don't shame them in public because they can't yell. The Neapolitan heritage of mine, I love it. They passionately yell. So when you find that which is a good tradition, it is not about men and women and monoamory or monogamy. No, it's about I have that which is a ventral vagal state, a body that's connected, a mind that is integrated, hold on, and a brain that is integrated, and a heart that's open. And so we got our luminous warriors. Again, it's a body that is not needing healing because it is loving, and then it knows exactly how it runs. But to be able to want to stay means that you recognize why you would not want to stay and why you would continue seeking that which is not healthy for you. That's the self-awareness that the teenager, if they're spiting their own self, they won't notice it, that they're rejecting love because they still have unhealed business. So we will continue it in the meantime. Thanks for stopping by, and like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow. Have a good one.